I am a previous perfectionist. This is scary, you know? Standing here. I'm supposed to be unmuted, and suddenly I'm silent. I feel your expectations because I am here to tell my story. An idea worth spreading, no least. That's kind of scary. What if I fail? What if you think my story is a load of crap? That's scary. As a previous perfectionist, there's always this hint of perfectionism that you still want to live up to the expectations of others. But I have stopped trying to live up to expectations most of the time. It's never almost completely possible to do so, but I've tried to stop that. And I've done so by becoming self-gentle. So that's what is my story today. It's about the power of self-gentleness. It's radically accepting yourself as the most important person to consistently deserve your own gentleness. It sounds really, really simple, but when you think of it, it's not always so easy. It's easy to be gentle to yourself when you're doing things right. But can you also be gentle to yourself when you're failing? When you're standing in front of an audience and you lose your lines, for instance, you don't know what to say? So let me tell you a little bit about how I became self-gentle after being a perfectionist for a very long time. And that started already when I was really, really small, when I started to have expectations about myself. I must have been around 5 years old. I was a highly sensitive, pretty smart kid, bold, emotional, loud. And at a certain point, I found myself truly alone. And that was because my mother was committed to a psychiatric hospital. And at that age, 5, I just felt so the need to be loved, to be acknowledged. But suddenly she was gone. And somewhere I must have thought that it was to do with me, because I was too loud, too sensitive, too emotional, because that was what she told me. And now, in hindsight, I understand she told me so, because she had to keep her own emotional balance. But when you're 5 years old, you don't have an idea of that. So I started to have these expectations about myself, that I had to be better, that I wasn't good enough to be loved, because I was left alone. I vividly remember walking to school and suddenly realizing I'm on my own. So you know what? I am going to do everything by myself. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be mature. So when she returned about 6 months later, and I was unable to reconnect again with her, and now I understand it was because of her own distress. But again, I felt it was my fault. I wasn't good enough. I was unworthy of that love. And when she left a few years later, because my parents divorced and I remained with my father, I just took it upon myself to start to take good care of my father, of my little sister. And that's where I started, with all those expectations of myself. Because I just wanted to know that I would not be alone anymore, that I could live up to all those expectations. And then my father died of pancreatic cancer. So, you know, it really reinforced that belief that I was on my own and I had to live up to expectations. So most of my lifetime, especially my work, I've tried to earn that. I went to theater school because I thought, you know, as an actor on stage, I will get a lot of love. Well, it's not the best job to find that, I can tell you. I had a lot of successes, but they were always brief and it never gave me that feeling that I was worthy. So I decided to start to write scripts for television. Same story, they were broadcast and there were small successes, but I still didn't feel I was there. So I decided to start to write for magazines, only to find out that I didn't know so much about the world. So I went back to study. At 35, I started to study political science. I graduated cum laude. I got a PhD at the age of 45. I got a tenured position as an assistant professor here at Leiden University, which is not an easy task in these days. And still, these were things that were outside of me. I was living up to all those expectations I put out there for myself. And of course, there was happiness when I reached one of those targets, one of those expectations. But it was always really short time. Same with getting kids. I have 2 awesome kids. But I had no idea how to be a good mother. So I just gave them everything I had in an attempt not to be like my own mother. So what was it that was going wrong? I was looking for that validation outside of me. I was putting up expectations that I thought that the world, the society had about me, but basically they were on my own expectations because I was on this quest to know, to be seen, to matter, to be loved, to be worthy, all these kinds of words that you can use for that. It was only when I became a meditation teacher, when I started to meditate, to go within, that I realized, it was like an epiphany. I was looking for things outside of me. But the only place where I can look for that feeling is within me. But how do you do that? What I did, I taught myself self-gentleness. So, radically accepting yourself as the most important person to consistently deserve your own gentleness. And when you think of it, what is that then? Consistently. Yes, consistently. So also when you mess up, also when you fail, also when you don't live up to expectations of someone else or your own expectations, can you be gentle to yourself? Radically, can you be gentle to yourself when other people are expecting things from you just because they need you to help them, but you feel that you cannot help them because you have to be there for yourself first. So when it comes to the question, am I there for someone else, or do I now have to take care of me? That is the radical part in that. So how did I do that? The answer is really simple and really difficult at the same time. I started to tune into myself, to connect, to feel, what is it that I really need now? And I always use this question, what can I do right now to feel a little bit better than I'm feeling right now? And it doesn't mean that I would be happy, energetic, and glorious all the time. No, it's always relative to where you are right now. And that question, that really helped me to tune in, to realize what is inside, what's going on, what is it that I need. And that could be one moment, go to sleep, and the other moment it could be go out in the world and be energetic. It depends on the moment every time. It never is the same thing. And then to acknowledge that, and then to try to honor that. And of course, sometimes you cannot honor something. If you have to get up and bring kids to school, but you want to sleep, then you still have to get up and bring those kids to school. But you can also promise yourself to come back to it later and then take care of that. It's all about this process of tuning in, understanding what you need, and then try to honor that right now or in a later moment. This is my message of today to all of you. Be self-gentle. And I know it's not so easy. It takes some guts. It takes some guts to step out of the rat race, to step out of all the expectations that you have of yourself, the expectations that are out there, the deadlines that you have to meet, and to really feel, what is it that I need right now? Because you don't have to have had a weird childhood like I had to feel unworthy from time to time. Everyone has that. Even if you had the most loving, beautiful childhood, we all have to deal with expectations of our parents, of our teachers, of our society, of our friends, our family. And that's okay. It's okay that those expectations are there, but we do have to deal with that. I mean, the message of society is work really hard and you will succeed. Toughen up. Don't be a loser. Think and act strategically. It's really, really important. I'm part of an educational system that sends out that message to our students all the time. And that's not per se a wrong thing, but to follow that path because you think it's expected of you while you feel it's going against something within you, that is where you start to beat yourself up. Because that is what I noticed. The beating up is in your head. It's always the thoughts in your head in which you are not gentle to yourself. So, this is my message. Be gentle to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be here and now and try to feel what it is that you want out of life, that you want out of the moments right now. You know, this is such a moment that I was thinking, what was it that I wanted to say right now? And I forgot. I could beat myself up right now saying, oh, so stupid. You had to learn the lines earlier, that you didn't have to improvise so much today. I could tell myself. Or I could say, well, I'm speaking about self-gentleness. I want to show you that it is okay to fail. If you are here, standing here, and you want to fail, that is okay. And maybe you love me for it, and maybe you don't. That's not so important. It's about what I found about that. You know what happens when people start to become more self-gentle? They can change the world. Because people who learn to be more gentle to themselves start to understand that we're all human beings that have feelings. We're all human beings that want to matter, that have a message, that have pain, that have histories, but that want to connect. And when you can give yourself that self-gentleness, when you can unmute yourself by being gentle to yourself, you send out a message that is so much more important to the world, and you can be more gentle towards others. And then, together, step by step, we can be part of a beautiful, a different, and more positive force in this world. Thank you.